Hi, I'm Ozzie.
I'm Jay.
And we're the wise ones. So the entire universe is love. So suffering, pain, it's just a varying level of love. But it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's like pleasure and pain. There's a really fine line between what's pleasurable and what's painful.
Right, huh? That's interesting. One of the seeds of it is being attached to stuff, like literally having attachments to things, right? So that's one cause of suffering. Like one of the best, I think, illustrations I ever read in terms of what's the difference between pain and suffering, right? Pain is when I take a needle and I jab it in your eye. That's really painful.
Right.
Suffering is when you, a year later, you are still going on and on about how I jabbed you in the eye.
That is suffering.
That's suffering, right?
Right.
So that's the difference between pain and suffering.
Right.
Now, suffering, we can suffer at practically anything.
Right.
You know, I can suffer because I'm not in Hawaii, or I can suffer because, you know, something that I desired hasn't happened. I have a friend of mine, her name's Julie Gardner,
Okay.
and she is one of the most profound people I've ever met. I mean, she's really outrageously amazing in terms of just how deep she is. But one of the things that Julie told me years ago, which was, it was just such an epiphany when I heard it. She told me, you know, happiness is wanting what I have. Wanting it the same way that I wanted something that I don't have. Because usually when we get it, then we focus our shift of wanting onto something else that we don't have. So we keep on chasing, we get caught in chasing things that are completely, absolutely illusory, right?
Yes.
So it's when we want what we have. In other words, you know, you take something as undesirable as open heart surgery, for example, right? If you fight that tooth and nail, and you fight it, no, I don't want it, I don't want it, I don't want it, I don't want it, you will never be able to derive the healing that comes from that horrible experience. So yeah, like 2 years ago, right? Within a 24-hour period, you go from being fully alive, 100% healthy, to dead. Okay? Which, you haven't lived, okay, until that moment happens. By this I mean, I had to sit down with my kids. You know, Joseph was what, 11, I guess. Chris was 9 years old. Moses was, I think, 13 at the time. You know, and you're going from healthy to totally done for, flatlining and all that kind of stuff. And when you sit down with your children and you tell them goodbye, essentially, you know, that instinct was such a profound transition point, because all of a sudden everything that you thought was important isn't. And I mean by a long shot. And everything that you thought is unimportant and can wait can't wait anymore, right? Things like just simple things like telling your sons and daughters, look, I love you. And all of a sudden, you know, you find yourself that there's no more time. And this is something that we all go through. We will all end in this present form that we're in. We will all end. It's not like you can avoid this. You know, suffering is part and parcel of life. It's just like sunrises and sunsets. It's just part of the. But the thing is that pain and suffering are not mutually exclusive with happiness. I think the happiest moments that I've ever had have been when I'm sitting there and I have absolutely no energy physically, no energy emotionally, you know, no energy essentially spiritually. Yet in the middle of that really horrible state, you can still be happy and you can still think of things such as the folks that you love and the people that you are totally, you know, loving. And they bring you just the thought of them brings you life. You know, so that in the middle of all that, okay, you can still experience absolute full bore, head on, double rainbow happiness.
Double rainbow happiness.
And you can literally experience absolute pure happiness in the middle of the most excruciating pain. I mean, anyone that has ever had open heart surgery will tell you. I mean, they open you wide enough that a team of people can get in there to do their job, right, to work. I didn't know that before, but they deflate your lungs.
Right.
Which is, it's just, okay, I guess lungs are bags.
Yeah, basically.
You can suck all the air out of it, you know? And that level of ouch, in the middle of that, you can still be absolutely happy.
Right.
You know, and it comes from breathing in the air and visualizing that you're breathing in the love of the people who have supported you over the years. You're breathing in God's love. You know, it gave you life. You are totally one with all of that.
Yeah.
You know, and those really harsh moments, they give you the ability to go back to a weakened state,
Right.
where you are finally open to the possibility, the potentiality that, hey, you know what, maybe God is love, and that love is God. You know, and you can be one with that. So that's why you have to rejoice when shit gets really hard. You can quote me on that. When shit gets really hard, you can rejoice.
That's awesome.